अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लाङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं। कृपया क्षमतामपराधिजनं खलु शायुतशक्तसुदीननरं सुपथे परिचालय सर्वदिनं प्रणमामि च माधवदेवपदम्। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। भुजे सव्यवेणुं शिरसि शिखिपिच्छं कटितटे दुकूलां नेत्रान्ते सहचरकटाक्षं विदधते। सदा श्रीमद्वृन्दावनवसति लीलापरिचयो जगन्नाथस्वामी नयनपथगामी भवतु मे। वन्दे नन्दव्रजस्त्रीणां पादरेणुम् अभीक्ष्णशः यासां हरिकथोद्गीतं पुनाति भुवनत्रयम्। भक्त्या विहीन अपराधलक्षैक्षिप्ताश्च कामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयी त्वां शरणं प्रपन्नवृन्दे नुमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। भूमोस्खलितपादानां भूमिरेव यवलम्बनं त्वय्यजात अपराधानां त्वमैव शरणं प्रभो। वागीशा यस्य वदने लक्ष्मीर्यस्या च वक्ष्यासि यस्यास्ते हृदये संवित्तं नृसिंहामहं भजे। श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। We are reading the narration of Dhruva's life from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto. Dhruva declared war against the Yakshas. There was an intense fight in which it was appearing as if the Yakshas were going to lose the battle. They ran away in fear. But later they have, shown their mystic powers by, raining blood, mucus, marrow, etc. They rained all these things from the sky, also serpents, so many things, and they wanted to make Dhruva run away. But Dhruva boldly faced all those things. The rishis, they came and they offered their advice, they offered their blessings and also their advice that he should immediately invoke the Narayanastra So as soon as he got this from the rishis, he immediately invoked the Narayanastra, and then as soon as he read the mantra, he recited the mantra, invoked that astra, immediately the entire mysticism of the yakshas simply was gone, and he started to kill everyone ferociously. Those who were killed in the battlefield by Dhruva, all of them entered into Satyaloka, which is the planet above the Surya Loka, about the Surya planet, where all the celibate brahmacharis and sannyasis, where they enter. To the same place, all those yakshas who were killed by Dhruva, they entered there. So we heard the other day the purport by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, where he says that even though they have entered into the Satyaloka because of being killed by a devotee like Dhruva, but still they did not get deliverance. They did not get the same status as the brahmacharis and the sannyasis that they have attained by observing so many celibacies and vows and austerities in this material world. They have attained that Satyaloka, but these yakshas, they have not attained that state as of them. So this is what we read the other day. Now we will continue to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 11th chapter, verse number 6. Tan hanyamanan abhivikshya guhyaka nanaga saschitra rathena bhumishah autanapadim kripaya pitamaho manurjagadopagataha saharshibihi. ध्रुव यही प्रकारे असंख्य निरपराध गुह्यक दिक्के विनाश करिते च देखिया पितामह मनु कृपा परवश हइया महर्षिगण समभिव्याहारे सेई स्थाने आगमन पूर्वक उत्तानपाद नंदन ध्रुव के कहिते लागिलेन. So all these when all the yakshas were being killed so mercilessly by Dhruva, and so many were getting killed, innumerable persons, and of them many are offenseless. They have not committed any offense. Just one or two persons have killed his brother, but for that he is killing so many yakshas who were offenseless. So by seeing this, his own grandfather, Dhruva's grandfather, Manu, he came along with so many other maharshis, great rishis, along with other great sages. He came to that place where Dhruva was standing and killing so many, offenseless yakshas. And then he started to speak to him in this manner. Shri Manu Uvacha Alang Vatsadi Tamodvareణ Papmana Jeno Punya Jananeta Navadhistra Managasah. श्री मनु कहिलेन, हे वत्स, तुमी जे क्रोधेर वशवर्ती हइया এই সকল নিরপরাধ গুহ্যকে বিনাশ করিলে ইহা বড়ই পাপজনক কার্য। সুতরাং নরকের দ্বারস্বরূপ তোমার এই প্রকার ক্রোধ অতিশয় পরিত্যাগ করো। So Manu started to speak to Dhruva in this manner. He told, my dear son, you are killing so many innocent yakshas. They are not offenseless. They are offenseless. They have not committed any offenses. They are very innocent of the crime of killing your brother. But you are killing all of them because of your incontrollable anger. You are not able to control your anger that your brother was killed, and in that state you are killing so many innocent creatures, innocent yakshas. You know, by this you are only doing sinful activities. You are not doing any good activity by doing this. You are completely under the grip of illusion that he is your brother and these persons are his killers. Therefore, you are taking revenge on them. So it is not good. You are only doing sinful activities. Therefore, by doing so, you are only making your way towards hellish planets. Give up this. Immediately give up this activity which is taking you only towards hellish planets. This is, he is doing only out of anger. You see, when the anger is not controlled, this is what happens. When anger goes out of control, we have seen in the scriptures also, at several places, Kamsa or Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, all these demons, they were able to control even demigods, but they were not able to control their own anger. The one who has no control over anger, he cannot do any good activity to anyone. The very first verse of Upadeshamrita says, Rupa Goswami says there, Vacho vegam manasah krodha vegam, jihva vegam udar upastha vegam, yetan vegan yo vishaheta dhiran sarvam apimam prithvi sasishyat. There it is said, Vacho vegam, the urges to speak. We want to speak so many things. Everything other than the topic of Krishna. That is Vacho vega. We have this, propensity to praise or, blame or insult others. So in the process, whatever we speak, if we analyze ourselves, what we are speaking, the topics other than Krishna, either they will be of self-praise, either we are telling about our own goodness, oh, I am like this, they are either of self-praise, or they are praising about other, temporary persons, or they are, talking about the defects of others. Nothing else. All the topics other than Krishna Bhakti are only this. This is called urge to speak. Mauna Vrata. Mauna Vrata means observance of silence. Observance of silence means not to speak mundane topics. Harikatha does not come under Mauna Vrata. Let's say if some person is observing Mauna Vrata and if he speaks Harikatha, then his Mauna Vrata is not gone. His vow of silence is not gone. Silence is only towards mundane subjects. We have to observe silence towards mundane subjects. Not 1, 2, 3 days. Some people observe Mauna Vrata and they say that by observing Mauna, when we'll do so many sinful activities. Why? Because on that day they will be free from so many sinful activities, isn't it? On that day they will be free from so many sinful activities because they will not speak ill about others, isn't it? That is why they will be free from certain sinful activities. So in one sense, they have no negative balance. But the actual Mauna Vrata, the actual silence is to speak about Krishna Bhakti, to speak about the topics in relation with Krishna, to chant the holy name, to perform Nagar Sankirtan. All these things come under Mauna Vrata only. So, first thing is Vacho Vegam. Second is Mano Vega, the urges of the mind. Even though when we are observing Mauna Vrata, the silence, our mind is doing so many sinful activities, isn't it? When we are observing Mauna, our mind is not silent, our mind is not stable, he is thinking all the nonsense. Even though we are not uttering from the mouth, but from the mind, this person is very bad, I will not go to him today, I will not see him. Why? Because your mind is thinking like this. So urges of the mind, and some people they observe Mauna Vrata, but they speak through mind. they won't utter a word, but through by some gestures and by some symbolic speech, they will express. They cannot, nobody can keep silence. It is impossible. Because our tongue is addicted to speak nonsense. The tongue, if it is not speaking about Krishna, he will only talk about nonsense. Therefore, actual Maunavrata is to train the mind to speak about Krishna Bhakti. And then the urges of the mind will also be finished. Then the third is Krodha Vega. That is what we are talking about. Krodha Vega, the urges of anger. When one comes under the spell of Rajoguna, being controlled by Rajoguna, his mind becomes completely infatuated, obsessed with a particular thing, and then he will become angry, and then in that mood of anger, he will lose his intelligence. What he is doing, what he is not doing, whether whatever he is doing is in accordance to what he heard from the previous acharyas, whether it is in accordance with what he heard from Gurudev, whether Guruji acknowledges it or not, he doesn't bother, because all intelligence is completely gone. Therefore, to come under the control of anger is a dangerous thing. One will lose all good things by anger. Vishwamitra simply became angry. All his good austerities, riches and all the good activities, the result of all those things are finished. Anger is our greatest enemy. Other than anger, there is no superior enemy. If one has actually controlled anger, he has actually controlled everything. And that is not so easy. As long as one is under the spell of the material conditioning that I and mine, this body is mine and the relatives of my body are mine, then anger is inevitable. Anything that happens to I and mine, I become disturbed. But if we see everything in connection with the Supreme Lord, then we will not unnecessarily become agitated, because we will see everything is ultimately Lord's desire. He is making it happen. So here Manu is instructing to Dhruva that your anger is not befitting here. Under the control of anger, you are killing so many innocent persons, and by this you are only heading towards hellish planets. Nasmat kulochitam tata karmaitat sadvigarhitam vadho यदुपदे वानाम अबाध्वस्ते अकृतैनसाम। हे वत्स, तुमी এই যে নিরপরাধ গুহ্যজ্ঞকে বধ করিতে প্রবৃত্ত হইয়াছ, ইহা সাধুজন বিগর্হিত কার্য, সুতরাং আমাদের কুলোচিত নাহে। My dear son, whatever you are doing means you are killing so many innocent yakshas, and you have become so determined to kill all of them. This is not accepted by the sadhus. They condemn such acts, because a devotee never he never grudges over any person, because he sees everything as the mercy of Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. We heard previously that Guru Maharaj says this, that a sadhu, if he gets any reprimand or any kind of caution or any kind of insult from others, then he will readily tolerate all those things, thinking them to be Lord's desire or to be his destiny. On the other hand, if due to his action some person, not only Vaishnav, any person is offended, then he becomes very disturbed. If he is offended by someone, he is not disturbed. But if by his activity somebody is disturbed, then offended, then he will become disturbed. Meaning that sadhu always acts favorably to all the living entities. So here he is telling that, my dear son, whatever you are doing, you are so determined to kill all the yakshas who are innocent, this is not accepted by the sadhus. In fact, it is condemned by them. And whatever sadhus condemn, because sadhus, they have not, they have no tendency to counteract or take grudge upon others. Guru Maharaj used to give this example, you also heard this several times, like a scorpion, he is repeatedly biting the sadhu. Sadhu is wanting to remove the scorpion from the water because he is suffering for his life air. Sadhu is bringing him out of the water, but the scorpion is biting him. How many other times he brings out? That many times he bites. But the sadhu will still continue to rescue that scorpion, because he will see, it is the nature of the scorpion to bite. The scorpion is not giving up his nature, therefore why shall I give up my nature of rescuing the fallen persons? So, a sadhu will never react or counteract in anger towards anything done unto him. And here, that is why he is telling that it is sadhu jana garhito. All the sadhus, they condemn this particular activity. So the point is that it is not in accordance to our dynasty. Manu's dynasty means there is name. There is a particular fame to Manu's dynasty, and you are a black spot on that dynasty. By doing this activity, all the good name and fame of our dynasty will be lost. Therefore, don't do this. If you do this, it will be gone. In this manner, he is instructing Dhruva. Navekasya paradhena tat sangadvahavo hataha bhuturvadhabhitaptena tvayanga bhatrvatsala. हे भातृवत्सल ध्रुव, তোমার ভ্রাতা কে একজন বিনাশ করিয়াছে, কিন্তু তুমি ভ্রাতৃবধ জনিত ক্রোধে অভিতপ্ত হইয়া একজনের অপরাধে বহু বহু গুহ্যকে বিনাশ করিয়াছ. So, my dear Dhruv, who is very, very dear to brother, means your brother is very, very dear to you, I know, my dear Dhruva. Uttama is very dear to you, I know that. But among these yakshas or guhyakas, only one person has killed him. Not all of them has killed him. I know that you have love towards your brother, but the point is that only one person has killed. And for that one person, and to take revenge over your brother's death on that one person, you are killing so many innocent other persons. It is not good. নিশ্চিত যে তোমার ভ্রাতৃহন্তা একজন যক্ষের অপরাধে সেই অপরাধীর সহিত সম্পর্ক হেতু বহু বহু যক্ষগণকে বধ করিতেছ. I understand that your brother is killed and you have lot of affection towards your brother. This is understood. But the thing is that for one person's crime, why are you killing so many other innocent persons just because they are in connection with that, offender? Why are you doing so? नायम मार्गो ही साधूनाम ऋषिकेशानुवर्तिनाम यदात्मानं पुरागृह्य पशुवद्भूत वैशसम। हे ध्रुव, এই প্রত্যক্ষ পরিদৃশ্যমান দেহকে আত্মা মনে করিয়া প্রাণী হিংসা করা পশুর এই স্বভাব, কিন্তু তাদৃশ হিংসা वृत्ति सर्वेन्द्रियपति ऋषिकेशेर अनुवर्ती भगवत भक्त साधुगणेर पंथा नहे। My dear Dhruva, by seeing this apparent body which is visible for the material eyes, you are seeing this material body which can be seen, which can be perceived through the material eyes, and by seeing that you are considering that to be yours, and thus you are committing crimes, you are killing others because just they are not in connection with your own kinsman. This is the activity of animals. This is animalistic activity. Means a sadhu, he never has the tendency to see or to consider whatever we see with this material eyes, the apparent world, to be actual truth. The sadhu never considers. But my dear Dhruva, whatever you are seeing, you are thinking that to be yours. Means that which is your brother is in connection with your own body. Therefore, you are thinking that your brother is yours. And while considering so, you are killing so many other innocent beings. This is not befitting a sadhu. This is not good. किंतु तादृश हिंसावृत्ति सर्वेन्द्रियपति ऋषिकेशेर अनुवर्ती भक्तदेर साधु दिगे पंथा नहीं. But this is not the path of the sadhus. The sadhus, the devotees, they don't follow this trend. They always try to satisfy the senses of Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Supreme Lord is present in all the living entities. He sees that my Lord is present in all the living entities, therefore he would want to please the Supreme Lord and thus please everyone. But by killing other persons, we are only, committing offense to the Supreme Lord. Why? They are also expansion of the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord means everyone. Everyone is within the Supreme Lord. Therefore, if you harm any living entity, not only just humans, any other creature also, if you are committing harm towards them unnecessarily, jivo jivasya jivanam. In Bhagavatam it is said that one living entity becomes food for another living entity. Just like we eat fruits, vegetables, etc. And these are, they also have life and we are eating them. But we are also eating some vegetables, fruits, etc., which are actually have life. But still, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, jivo jivasya jivanam, one living entity depends upon another living entity for his own life. So whatever is a dire necessity, so much only you will engage. You will not unnecessarily even harm the immobile creatures like trees also. Whatever is required you will do. And their consciousness is evolved to a limited extent. Therefore, there is no, the offense is not to that greater degree. Anything that we take for our own self will be offensive, will be sinful. Therefore, we accept those things that are offered to Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. We take the fruits, we take the flowers, we take the vegetables, we take milk, all these things, other pulses, etc., whatever we take, all these things are coming from the nature, are coming from one living entity only. But if we take directly for ourselves, it will be sinful. But if we offer to Supreme Lord Sri Krishna and accept it, it is not. Therefore, the devotees, they do it this manner. And other animals, insects, etc., we should not kill unnecessarily. One animal kills another animal only because he is a food for that animal. Guru Maharaj used to say this, that even one animal does not harm another animal without any necessity. Only if he is hungry, lion, he will not unnecessarily hunt another being. Only if he is hungry, he will hunt, and then he will eat. But unnecessarily, he will not do so. And another thing is that lions does not attack their own species. They don't attack lions. Tigers does not attack their own species, tigers. They attack another species for their own food. But Guru Maharaj used to say that the humans have become so barbarian that they don't even, consider that, they don't take even a back step. They don't even think that committing such heinous activities unnecessarily is a greatest sinful activity. And in fact, Guru Maharaj used to say, actually the humans are more fearful of their own species than about the other species. They are not as fearful as, they are not fearful from tigers or elephants or animals or beasts, but they are more fearful of their own species, that is another human being. When they will kill, for what reason they will kill, nobody knows. They are killing so many innocent people, isn't it? The Naxals, the infiltrates, all these persons, they are unnecessarily killing for no reason. One human is becoming enemy of another human. Means the human species are becoming enemy of their own species. You don't see the dog killing another dog. You don't see tiger killing another tiger. But you can see one human killing another human. Why? Because they have become so barbarian. They become so fallen that they can go to any extent to fulfill their selfish needs. To any extent they can go. Their only desire is selfishness. And what is that selfishness? They are considering their body to be the self. Because they are considering their body to be the self, anything in connection with the body, any need of the body, even for the sake of sports, enjoyment, pastime, part-time, they do this. What is your hobby? Fishing. Fishing is a hobby. Means killing fish is a hobby. You can't imagine that one person's hobby can be killing another insect, another living species. This is the nature of human beings. They are so selfish because they like it. Because they like it, they do it. Not because they want it. For their own self-enjoyment, for their own sense gratification, they are killing so many innocent creatures. By doing so, what they will get? Is that hobby bringing any benefit to his own life itself? It is a waste of time in the first place, and on top of it, he is only doing more and more sinful activities. So this is, completely against the purpose of the Supreme Lord creating the humans. Supreme Lord has created human beings only for the purpose of performing Hari Bhajan. He was satisfied after creating the human beings. But still, at this juncture, even after getting this human birth, we are not engaging this precious opportunity in the service of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Then we are only, wasting this beautiful precious opportunity and digging our own grave. time finished. Very. So we are digging our own grave. So which is very, very pitiable. It's a pitiable state. So here Manu is telling, my dear Dhruva, whatever you are seeing with this, perceiving with this material eyes, you are considering that to be yourself. And thus, to fulfill those selfish needs, you are killing so many living beings. Sadhus does not carry such, heinous tendencies towards any living creatures. They don't commit harm. They don't commit any, crime towards any living beings. On the contrary, they will only serve Rishikesh. The Supreme Lord, Rishikesh means the master of all the senses. He will serve because he sees Supreme Lord residing in the heart of all living entities, and therefore he serves them, by which Supreme Lord is pleased. But you are doing just the opposite. Manu is telling to Dhruva in this manner. We will continue from here tomorrow. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय, श्री कृष्ण द्वैपायन वेद व्यास महामुनि की जय, जय श्री श्री सुखदेव गोस्वामी की जय, जय श्री श्री नारद गोस्वामी की जय, श्री ध्रुव महाराज की जय, परमारत्म श्री गुरु महाराज की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल।